Today is 28th, Thursday, March 28th to be exact. And we welcome everybody into this average podcast, the Shelby Nick average podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. Whew! Clear, crispy snap
Crisp,
for today's episode. You're getting a little.
I'm getting, dude. I'm getting.
It's
Back to back like I'm Kobe, baby.
it's different. Probably sound 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 different. I don't know if she'll.
Yep. I'm currently perched on my recording device right now, as if I'm a hawk, to see if I can get more mojo going.
Having a lot of troubles with my headset. Had to do this, had to do that. Eventually switched earbuds to some earbuds. They didn't work. You know how like when you hold an ear at a certain
Just
angle,
right,
charge
yeah.
at a certain angle. That's what I'm having to do. I mean, I have this thing like 3 times around my arm. My arm's 90 degrees in the air.
But the fucking show goes on, baby.
The show goes on. We missed a week 2 weeks ago, and we don't want to do that again. We don't want to.
And before we get too far, I do want to give a quick shout out. Alex, my cousin, Nick, he actually called me the other day and told me he listened to the podcast. I posted a little plug on my social media, and he called me. He's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, listen to the podcast." I was like, "Oh yeah." So shout out to Alex. Thanks for the support. Much love. His house actually got hit by like a mini tornado. Like he rents, right? And so it got hit by a mini tornado, and he said it was just his like block, like his across the house neighbor is just fine. Like his house had like the pickup window broken out and a bunch of windows broken out and all that. So
I would be pissed.
Oh, he was.
I would be pissed.
He was.
Having a tornado just come down just to spite me and my neighbors and then leave.
Yeah, dude. He definitely felt spout for sure. But
is it spout or spited?
Oh, it's spout for sure.
It's spout. Okay.
It's spout. Go ahead and comment in the comment sections. Spout versus spite, and tell us which one you think it is.
No, it's
spited. Sorry.
Yeah, it's spout or spited. Which one is the?
It's spout for sure.
Past tense. I think it's spited.
It's spout.
Spout. It sounds like something completely different.
Yeah, but so does spit and spat. You know, that's what I'm going off of.
You make a good point, but you just slap that ED at the end of it. Technically, there's already an E at the end of it, so you just slap that D on the end of the word, make it spited.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just sounds. Regardless, he definitely feels spited / spout by the wind. But it's so weird because Alex grew up as the baby cousin for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he still is that baby cousin to me. But it's so funny hearing adult stuff coming from his mouth and just adult situations he's put in and all that. And it just really makes me feel old as shit.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but
I ain't old.
Me being the same age around Alex. I don't know if I'm the exact same age, but I know I'm around there.
I don't know.
You're old. You're kind of old.
Dude, I feel it, bro. I feel it.
I mean, me and you were playing video games the other day, and you were lost in the terminology.
Dude, you young yippersnappers just make up shit. I swear. What the hell is Zen and Zen just saying the same words and shit?
Well, Zen and Zem are two different things. However, they are both video game related terminology. So we'll stay away from that. We're not gonna turn this into a video game podcast. We are a sports podcast, but of course we started off with a little "How you doing?" we realized that your cousin is not doing very well. How are you doing?
Better than him. No, I'm doing all right, man. It's get a little, feel a little spring where we're at for sure. A little nice up and down weather, but other than that, got the car detailed, ready to go, and good days, good days. How about you, Mr. Nicholas?
Me, I'm feeling good. Now that
Yeah,
we got these technical difficulties solved and I can breathe a little bit and the red is clearing out from my vision and face. I could look back on the week. Must be nice feeling spring where I've been at. It's been like 30 degrees, 40 degrees for like the past 3 days.
really
Kind of dumb, yeah.
tough. Yeah, no, dude, I was in a t-shirt today.
Yeah, no, I went out in shorts and
Went,
severely regretted it yesterday.
went right back inside. Change
Yeah,
the thing.
took one step outside, went ooh, nope, went right back inside, had to change back into my hoodie and hoodie and why can't I? Why am I
Sweats.
blanking on it? Yes, sweats. I could have just said pants, but hoodie and
It's fine.
sweats.
Damn, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
crazy.
been, but it's the type of the year where it's fake spring.
Yep.
At least that's what
Always
I've
happens.
heard.
Always
You
happens.
get you get those 3 days of like 70-degree weather. You're like, oh yeah, it's shorts weather, and then boom, another cold front. Boom,
Yep.
mini tornado hitting only you.
Boom! Window shattered.
That's got to be rough. But yeah, just
uh,
going throughout the days, pretty nice. March Madness starts up again today, so nothing's really happened in that front yet. But I am pretty excited to get back to that tonight, be able to watch some games and whatnot.
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So I think we're just gonna, instead of having this 30-minute long segment where we revelate in the past, I think we're actually just gonna jump right into it for once.
We can talk about Mitchell Trubisky again.
I mean,
To hell with it.
if we could not,
Oh,
I mean, if we could, that'd be fine. But if we could not, that would also be fine. You know what I'm saying?
so speaking of the Steelers being a complete disaster, did you see?
Anyway,
hold
so
on,
we're
hold
gonna
on,
start
yeah,
out
hold
with
on,
some
real fast,
NBA.
real fast. Can I say this? Did you see that Sean Payton was asked, like, did you understand the negative outcome that could happen, or the dead cap hit that you'll be taking when you released Russell Wilson? Like, do you regret that? He said, no. Just two letters, no.
I think Sean Payton saw what retirement was like. He liked it at first, kind of had the itch to get back to football, and then realized the dumpster fire that he was thrown into, and is already over it. Like
Oh
he
yeah.
already wants to get back to retirement.
Dude, I was that guy that's like, I think Sean Payton's not going to turn them around, but it's going to be a good impact on them, and they almost made the playoffs. But yeah, you can tell in his just demeanor the whole time. He's like, "Damn, I went from Drew Brees to this mess."
Yeah, well, Drew Brees, an easy conference, pretty much guaranteed going to the playoffs every year to the Broncos.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
but
that's a rough turnaround for anybody.
yeah, right. Okay, after that, now we can get into the NBA. So, what you got on the slate today, homie?
Yeah, so we're gonna start with the NBA this time around because for the NFL, there's a lot of things that me and Shelby both want to go kind of talk in depth about, and so we just figure that it would be better to kind of save that for the later half. So starting out NBA, same thing as always. Celtics reigning supreme. 57 wins, 15 losses. Now, the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks are 11 games behind the Celtics. 11. To put that into perspective, the Celtics are ahead of the 2 seed by 11 games in the Eastern Conference. The Nuggets, who are the number 1 team in the Western Conference, are only 10 games. So that's even 1 game less. But the Nuggets are only 10 games above the 9 seed.
West is deep, dude.
The West is deep, and the Eastern Conference apparently is just going to be a breeze. Granted, the Celtics are, like we've said this many times during the podcast. The Celtics, this is their year. They've been favorited from the beginning. Jason Tatum's been on MVP type level play. He's probably not going to get it because of narrative, but Jason Tatum's been on MVP level play. Jaylen Brown's been very, very good. The addition of Kristaps Porzingis has worked out better than anybody could have expected.
Yeah.
And boy, Derek White, that bald-headed, pesty little boy. I mean, I can't say little boy. He is a pesty man.
Man is uglier than sin, but goddamn does he ball.
Does he know ball? I don't get it. I saw a stat today that games played without Jason Tatum, the Celtics are 9-1. Games played without Jaylen Brown, the Celtics are 8-0. Games played without Kristaps Porzingis, they're 19-3 without Kristaps Porzingis. Now that's like their big 3. I mean, you could add Drew Holiday in there as well.
Mm.
Drew Holiday is a key point, but in the 6 games that the Celtics have not had Derek White, the Celtics are 3-3.
Yeah. Derek White is definitely the glue that I think every championship level team has. I mean, if you look at the Lakers, it was Derek Fisher. If you look at the Heat, it was Mario Chalmers. If you look at the Warriors, Draymond Green. The Bulls, Dennis Rodman.
The Cavs had Matthew Dellavedova.
Yeah, I mean, every championship team has that glue guy. And Derek White has obviously been that for the Celtics, and honestly, probably the best glue guy in the league.
It is insane how good the Celtics are at just being able to next man up mentality. Because like I said, your star player goes down in the NBA. A lot of times that's very detrimental, right? I mean, the Celtics are still 9-1 without Jason Tatum. That's your number 2 option goes down. Normally, teams can feel that effect. They're 8-0 without Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What? That was, but it's that just having that glue guy around, like you said. And I mean, the standings haven't really changed for the Eastern Conference. The only thing that's really come up are the Magic. Magic are pushing that pace to try to climb up the leaderboard. The Bucks are, like I said, 11 games behind. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they haven't necessarily clinched the 2 seed yet. However, the Milwaukee Bucks will not be able to get to the 1 seed. And the Bucks are also kind of fighting for that 2 seed.
Yeah,
We didn't really talk about it. Yeah, we didn't really talk about it last week, but the Knicks have been on a roll here lately. I mean, with Jalen Brunson actually being able to come back, Knicks are only 2 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks. And I mean, once you get past once you get past this, or yeah, once you get past the Celtics, had a brain brain fart moment.
Mhm.
Once you get past the Celtics, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Magic. So that's the 2, 3, 4, and 5 seed are 4 games within each other.
Yeah, and I don't see the Cavs staying up high with Donovan Mitchell not being able to play and all that. I mean, hell, they're
Yeah.
3-7 in their last 10, and I think with the Magic, the Pacers, and the Heat all on the rise, I expect Cavs to drop some more games.
Yeah, like you said, Donovan Mitchell being out, and this goes back to the Celtics. When a team doesn't, or when a team loses their star player, it normally impacts the team. Hence, Cavaliers
Hmm.
and Donovan Mitchell being out. And like you said, I mean, 3-7 in their last 10. The Magic and Paolo Banchero have been playing really well. Their TikTok account, hilarious every time they
Yep,
win.
yep. I will say I'm not gonna give Paulo like I'm not gonna discredit him, I guess, but I think major flowers to Jalen Suggs. He is a Derek White to that team with his 3-point ability. Like he is like a definition of 3 and D. I mean, he's constantly bringing the defense and all that night in, night out. So I think a large part of that is because of Jalen Suggs.
So the Magic are making their way up. The Knicks on a roll, 8-2 in their last 10. Like I said, with Jalen Brunson returning, that's really helped out. The pieces around him. They're still waiting for Julius Randle to get back, but
I I was
uh,
going to make a comment about that. I think I think I said this on the pod before, but Julius Randle is one of my most polarizing watches. When he's hot, he takes the most ill-advised shots I've ever seen in my life. I mean, heat check after heat check after heat check. But to me, like you can get someone that just is more consistent, and I think that's what this Knicks teams need is because you have a bright star in Jalen Brunson. You have Josh Hart who's playing unreal minutes right now, but he's just a grit and grind type of player. Where I think if you find another person that's kind of like a Julius Randle, and the fact that not so much of the up and downs, where it's just more consistent, I think the team would be better off. So if I were the Knicks GM, I'd probably be trying to see if I can get a trade going on for him, and maybe do like a lower tier kind of player, and then with like another player that could potentially be towards the bottom of the rotation.
well, the trade deadline did pass already.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I'm saying like after all said and done,
Yeah.
like during the off season, or maybe even trade them to free up some cap or whatever.
I mean, I can definitely see why you have that take, especially with the success that the Knicks have been having. Just to be able to lose Julius Randle and still be the 3 seed, still probably. I mean, they have a legitimate shot of making the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, if you do that without a person there, it kind of says something. I mean, a lot of people might look at that and say, well, if they did this without Julius Randle, think of what they can do with Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, if people are having the thought in the back of their mind where it's like they can do this without Julius Randle, so why do they need him type thing? And I mean that's gotta be floating throughout the organization with the
You
amount of
figure
games that he's missed and whatnot. So I could definitely like seeing him traded, like you said, if they could get I don't necessarily know the specific player in mind, right? But if you could
mm,
get someone who's a serviceable starting power forward and just be able to, as you said, get another kind of depth player, because I mean, granted, depth is unknown to Mr. Thibodeau, as we've said
I'm gonna
many
say
times.
it's. I don't know why I'm saying deft tip. It doesn't matter. He's playing six regardless. Yeah, I don't know who that person looks like exactly, and maybe that'd be something we can do after the whole season's done,
I mean,
and
maybe they
kind of
can
like what we
trade
did
him
with
for
the
like a
NFL.
maybe kind of trade him for like a high up draft pick, maybe. Try to see if you can get a young one of these young college kids coming out for power forward, maybe.
Maybe I mean you'll be more of the guy on that. Like I don't really watch college basketball like I probably should. So you'll be the one that can tell me that. But to me, it just feels like they have OG Anunoby on the team who's been doing really good for them, and kind of like that. I think they just need someone because to me, Julius Randle was always kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah.
Where Jalen Brunson's a slashing guard, a slashing thickum guard, and you have a power forward that just kind of does the same thing, like bully ball. And bully like that team is very like slow, thoughtful about what it's going to do, kind of grind you down. It doesn't make sense as a team to do that, and then you have one player that like excessively does that. If that makes sense, where you could have more of an even spread amongst the whole thing. And I think if you have someone that can do more of a shooting part, so maybe like a DeAndre Hunter or kind of someone in that mold that kind of brings more of a shooting touch to this team, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, being able to bring a shooting touch and like a little bit of defense as well.
Yeah, I mean, good old 3-and-D. I mean, it feels like everyone in the league can use a 3-and-D, but I think
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I don't follow NBA basketball as much as I should. We're kind of reversed
Mm-hmm.
in that. I follow more college, you follow more professional.
Yep.
But who is the Knicks starting power forward right now? Do you know that? Like, do you know who's replacing Julius Randle?
My guess is probably Bogdan.
Yeah, if they could get somebody with a little bit more mobility than Bogdanovich, because I mean, he's up there in age, and I know he's not the fastest, and it
Mm-hmm.
can just kind of open up that game, like you said, a little 3-and-D player. Maybe put less pressure on like Josh Hart and Dante Johnson is still gonna have the same. Johnson is still gonna have the same amount of pressure because he's the main ball handler. But I mean, if you can get somebody that'll kind of just post up in the corner, knock down a three, maybe like a Grant Williams.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a bad one. The only thing I don't like about Grant Williams is the fact that to me, he doesn't really bring like winning basketball. If that makes sense.
I mean, he was on the Celtics
He was on the Celtics, but
a
I don't
couple
think
years
it was
ago.
because of him. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe just ever since he went to Dallas, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I saw an interview with him and this. I saw an interview with him, and he seemed to be a cool guy. But just to me, I would rather see someone else that kind of gets brought into it. Honestly, this is what needs to happen. You need to trade Julius Randle to the Brooklyn Nets, bring the Villanova boys back, and run Mikal Bridges. Run Bridges at the three, move OG to the four, maybe the other way around, whichever way, and then run it that way.
It is cool in theory, but I can tell you the Brooklyn Nets are never trading Mikal Bridges. I can't
Hey,
say
he's
never.
having a down year.
I
He's having a
can't
down
say.
year, and that team, I mean, if you throw, because Knicks also has a good bit of draft picks because of the Chris Habs trade.
I would be shocked if the Nets ended up trading Bridges. That would genuinely shock me. I do not see that. I do not see them trading him. Because, I mean, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, they've kept as a duo, and I feel like the Nets wanted to keep them as a duo from the trades because they traded for them from the Suns, and I mean they probably want to keep them together because that's what they've been doing.
Right. I don't know. I just think I think that
We
would be a real
probably,
fun team.
honestly, we don't even really need to change the Knicks very much. The Knicks are doing fine on their own. They're the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. The only
Yes.
problem is that they're looking at Goliath.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for
that's
sure.
really their only problem. If they had another team that wasn't the Celtics at the very top, they would have a legitimate shot to make the finals. I mean, they're the 3 seed, and they're not sitting there comfortably because their Cavs are a half game behind. But as you said, the Cavs are dropping. The Magic are only 2 games behind, but they're fighting for the 2 seed.
Right. I don't know. I think as long as the Knicks get home court, I think it'll be okay. Because truthfully, I can
Going,
see a world where Knicks they play a very grindy basketball where it takes a lot of time and stuff like that. And naturally, the rotations in the playoffs get smaller as it is. So I can see a world where they can pick up a game or two against the Celtics, and the Celtics are Jason Tatum's been really really healthy his whole career, but maybe it changes, maybe it doesn't, and if Drew Holiday's not playing up to par or anything like that. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is it is Goliath. Yes, they are the favorites out of the East, and I think more often than not is going to come into the play of them moving on. But the Celtics also, I mean, they gave up a 30-point lead against the Hawks. Thanks for blowing my damn parlay,
as I
Celtics.
said,
But
there's some spite
yeah,
behind that.
yeah, they should feel spoke, dude. It was an easy give me
Whoa,
bet.
whoa, whoa! I think we went over that it is spited.
Uh, Comment section, let us know. But um, you know, yes, the Celtics are still like. I mean, them losing to the Hawks obviously didn't change anything really. But I think it is like they're a human kind of moment, and I feel like they also haven't really had to play much like clutch basketball because they have been such a good team. Whereas the Knicks, I mean, they have been. It feels like they never blow anyone out. Like they win, they just never blow anyone out. So maybe that's also something that once it comes to the playoffs and things slow down as it is, and the Celtics are also very jump shot happy. In the playoffs, if your jump shot's not landing, I mean that team's they should have slashers on that team with Kristaps able to handle the ball. Jaylen Brown, if he's going to his right, if he's going to left, he's screwed. But you have Jason Tatum, who should be able to drive very much, or should be drive pretty well and whatnot. But we have seen it before where their shots aren't falling. And with the Knicks, when you play a much more slower brand of basketball, gritty, more drive-in and stuff like that, I feel like that can translate a little better if you're having a bad day compared to the jump shot happy Celtics.
But yeah, but especially because the Knicks are like the first team, and I think it's like 20 or 30 years or something like that to hold back-to-back opponents to like 80 points, or maybe it was less than 80 points or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, the Knicks are very much a slow-paced, grindy. They're gonna play defense for 27 seconds if they need to. I mean, there's a 24-second shot clock violation, so they're going to play defense
Nice
3
cover.
seconds.
Nice cover.
Well, I know that there's a 24-second shot clock
Jason Tatum's
violation,
getting picked up from the second he gets to the parking garage.
but that's the type of team that they are. They're going to play defense for 48 minutes from possession to possession, possession to possession, possession to possession.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it makes it granted, makes it granted, makes it granted, makes it granted, makes it
Exactly.
granted, makes it a little bit harder since it is a 7-game series. Normally, because of the series, Goliath will prevail. I don't know what that was.
No, that was me slapping
Is
my
that,
leg.
as I said, do you want to? I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah, let me talk. No, and the only thing that scares me, so if you match up the Celtics against the Knicks, just one-on-one, the only thing that really scares me is the center position, with Mitchell Robinson holding it down for the Knicks. Mitch Rob, I think he's doing a little bit better now, but earlier in his career, he's been very foul happy, and if Kristaps is on him, I mean, that's Kristaps is the guy who can nail his free throws for sure. And then once he goes, I mean, obviously Tibbs rather play Derrick Rose, rather pull him out from wherever he's at and be like, hey, put on this Knicks jersey. You're playing our center right now. But he'll
The Celtics are also 4-0 against the Knicks this season, so there is that.
there is that. That's also pretty tough to come out of.
Yeah.
I'm pulling
But
for the Knicks. Let me see the boys in blue or orange. Boys in orange.
So going on to the Western Conference, where there is less of a Goliath. There are just Goliath. I mean, I
Would
can't
you?
really call them Goliaths, multiple. I mean, because of how the West is kind of stacked
Playing
up.
out, yeah.
Because I mean, it's the same thing with the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Thunder at the top. Those three teams have been fighting for the number one seed all season long, and they're going to continue to fight for the one seed for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's half a game in between all three teams. The Nuggets are one win above the Timberwolves and Thunder. That's it. Like, same amount of losses. The Nuggets just have one more win. And so, I mean, that's tight competition. It's going to come down to the final game, or games probably. I would assume game. The Western Conference, as you said, is has a lot more depth. So
Mm-hmm.
much more deep. I mean, because you get down to the 6 and 7 seed on the Eastern Conference, you're starting to talk about like the 76ers without Joel Embiid, the Bulls, the Heat right now. I mean, the Heat are kind of on a tear, but those are the teams that you're talking about. In the Western Conference, you have the Suns, the Kings, and the Lakers. I mean, those are two very different. If
Yeah.
so and those are both 9 seeds. So that's you about the kind of tells you about the Western Conference depth.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
from go for it.
and what's crazy to me is so once you get down to the 6 to the 10, right, in the Western Conference, you have the likes of Luca and Kyrie who can absolutely go win you not only a game but multiple games. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
Kyrie.
they can go and win you 4 games.
I would say Kyrie put down the Nuggets and Jokic was guarding him, and the dude took a deep hook shot and made it. You know, and then you have Luca, who's Luca Magic, playoff performer. You have the Suns with KD and Devin Booker, who are all notorious for big time shot making. Bradley Beal's, you know, kind of taking a step back from his years prior on the Wizards, but still there. You have the Kings, who Domantas Sabonis. I mean, he's probably excluding Jokic, probably the best center in the West.
He leads the leagues rebounds, and I think is first in double doubles, maybe second
Oh, probably.
as well.
I think he broke the record for most consecutive double doubles over Kevin Love when he was on the Timberwolves.
Yes, I know he did that.
Um, and then, but even with him, I mean, he he can go out and win you a game, right? Him and then De'Aaron Fox. I mean, speedy, and then Malik Monk off the bench. I mean, that's Kings are despite their record, like they're not over 40 games, but you know they're still a good team. Then you have the Lakers, who AD and LeBron can 1,000% win you a game.
Yeah, playoff
Then you have
LeBron is second to none,
exactly.
essentially.
Oh yeah. And then you have the Warriors, who Steph Curry can go out and absolutely win you a game. And then the Rockets are actually coming up the rear, who are I think they're going to end up being the 10 or 9 seed.
The
I think we're
Rockets
going
are
to see them.
currently. I did want to talk about the Rockets because the Rockets are one of the most interesting, intriguing, fascinating. I mean, any word that you can think of where it's
Is
like,
that
wow, that explains the Houston Rockets.
wow? Yeah,
That
dude, the
explains the
Rockets are
Houston
playing
Rockets.
stupid good.
They are a young team. They're so fun to watch. Jalen Green has just decided that he's going to take after his last name,
It's because he's a damn dad, dude. That's how it
and
is.
the Rockets are on a 10-game winning streak.
Hottest team in ball right now.
The last time the Rockets had a 10-game winning streak was when they had MVP James Harden. That was James Harden's M 2018.
I was like, that it wasn't even his last year there.
No, yeah, it wasn't his last year there. That's what's shocking. And
Yeah.
so it's been like 6 years since they've had a 10-game winning streak. But this Rockets team is coming up the rankings. And one of the Rockets players took to Instagram last night after the Rockets won, and he was calling out the Warriors. And if I really hope the Rockets and the Warriors play again, because that game is going to determine who's in the play-in tournament, and
Um,
that's going to be so fun to watch.
right here, let's see if they do. I don't think that they
Especially if we get
play
another
Thursday, April 4th. But
let's
they
go.
do play again. The only bad thing is it's only 3 games for now. 4 games for now. So there'll still be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
There'll be about
There'll be
6
six
games.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's 10 games left in the season.
Yeah.
You figured the Thunder and the Timberwolves have 50 wins and 22 losses. That means 72 games. There's 82 games in a season.
Yeah, but some teams don't play, or they play 82, but some teams play more games than others at this time. But regardless,
So the Rockets and Warriors are really fighting it out, and the Rockets have all of the momentum.
hmm
A 10-0, especially that young of a team. Oh, and they're so fun to watch. Jalen Green is an absolute madman when he steps on the court.
Yep.
Watching him put up like 40 points, so fun. I have so much fun seeing that. I'm actually tuning into Rockets games. I never thought I would have said that after James Harden left.
Dude, they're fun, dude. They're fun. They're fun.
I'm watching the Rockets more than I'm watching the Clippers, the team that I'm a fan of. I mean that says to me like that's how much fun I'm having watching the Rockets. Where I'd rather watch them over the team that I'm actively supporting and have
Right.
actively supported.
I don't. So okay. So what's your thoughts on? Well, I guess you haven't. You just told us you haven't been really listening to the Clippers, but the Clippers are, not doing too
Well,
terribly hot.
I've been following the Clippers. Just because I watched the Rockets games doesn't mean that I'm not, keeping up with the Clippers.
Okay.
And as you said, Clippers are not doing very hot. We had a lot of talks when the podcast first started, saying about how the Clippers were in the race for the top of the West. Not anymore.
hmm
It's been a slow, sad decline. In fact, we're looking to not even get a top 4 seed, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, with the way that we're playing, and then we have the Pelicans right underneath us and the Mavericks right underneath them. I am not. What's the word that I'm looking for? I'm not secure with the fact. Like, I'm not confident. That's the word that I'm looking for. I'm not confident in the fact that we're going to get a top 4 seed.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Clippers, 4-6 in the last 10, haven't been playing the best. They got a win last night, barely, over the 76ers. And I say barely because it was a 1-point game, 1-point
Mm-hmm.
victory for the Clippers, and that last call or those last seconds of the game were very controversial.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why there's videos floating from after that game of Kelly Oubre and Nick Nurse talking to the refs. Kelly Oubre saying some stuff that, is funny
He's
to
a
the
legend,
average
dude.
viewer,
That's so funny.
walking up, calling all three of the refs a female dog, right, and pointing him out while he's doing it
What I
too.
love about it is that he didn't point. He used his whole hand. You know, like saying like when you point fingers, there's three fingers pointed back at you. No, he made sure there was none of that. He did the whole hand.
Yeah, it was like when you were in middle school and high school, and you'd go like, "Boy," and you
Boy.
just
Yeah.
all five fingers, even like going down on the palm and everything too. Like he was pointing them out one by one.
Oh, they knew.
Like,
They
you're
knew
this,
1,000%.
you're this, you're this. It was, and he had to be like, he had to have teammates taking him off the court and whatnot because he was getting right into the officials' faces. And I mean, when you look at the play, I saw the play. I saw the play live.
Hmm.
Clippers fan, very happy that the whistle was not blown. A fan of good basketball, whistle probably should have been blown.
Yep. Exactly.
I mean,
So
the Kawhi came through with a block, and I think the block was clean. However, I think there could have been a foul called because there was a lot of contact on Kelly Oubre from Paul George, especially in the air.
mhm,
And so it was definitely something that I looked at it and thought that's
it's
that's
not the
gonna
right
be
call.
called. That's
Yeah.
gonna be called. And then nothing was called, and I was like, "Hey, look at that!
Yeah.
The
All right.
Clippers won."
Cool. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I want
that's
to bring something up to your attention as well about the Clippers. So when we're talking about them being the favorites, or not us in general, but the masses in December
I
and
don't.
January.
I sure hope I said something in one of these podcasts because it feels like this is a Clippers cycle, or it just seems like granted, not these past couple of years, but it always seems like Clippers do very good. They contend for a top spot, and then at the end, it just goes off the rail. And I hope I said something in the past podcasts because I've been thinking that this is going to happen. I was hoping it didn't, but I've been thinking this was going to happen.
Right,
But
right.
anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, no, you're good. That was good. So in December/January, we were looking at the Clippers as, oh damn, James Harden was traded in about November-ish. They were doing horrible that time. People were like, oh, was this the right move? And then in December to January, we said, oh damn, they're for real. They figured it out. That's when Russ, called to be all coming off the bench and stuff like that. They were putting
Yep.
up 121 points a game. 121,
Yep.
11 and 2 in December, 12 and 3 in January. They were playing phenomenal. They're making 50.9 to and 51.1 respectively percent of their shots, right? So now in February, they knocked it down. They're only putting up about 115, just shy of that. They're 6-5, right? And they're making 48.6.
I
And
do
then,
believe that a big part of it has come down to teams are now kind of understanding how the Clippers are working. Because with the James Harden trade and Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, it kind of took a little bit for the Clippers to understand what was going on. And then once the Clippers understood how to, play basketball again, then it kind of took like the rest of the league by surprise. And I think the Clippers have a lot of talent, obviously. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, those aren't names that you hear and think that they're going to be on a team together But so because those are all or were superstars. I mean, 3 of the 4 of them are still superstars. 2 of the 4 of them are still superstars. I'll give Paul George and Kawhi Leonard superstars. Russell Westbrook and James Harden are still stars in the league, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I also think that Russell Westbrook's injury is kind of a big thing. He had a broken hand, I believe it was. He had to spend some time out with surgery. He's just now coming back, and I think that will help as well because when you have Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, good things are going to happen. But I think that we have fallen enough to where we're finally starting to the law of is coming into play. Because like you said, monster January, monster December. Finally, the law of averages is finally coming back.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, like you're saying, the Westbrook injury, I think that obviously kind of took the wind because Russ is always someone that brings the intensity. And I feel like he was also being the voice of the locker room that was in the back and kind of being the voice of all that because if you look, their defense is also kind of falling down the hill too. And I'm not saying that Russ is a Rudy Gobert type player or anything like that, but I do think Russ talks a lot. I think he's very vocal, and that's kind of what happens. Is because if you watch the Clippers, it's a lot of the like laps, like a lot of threes and whatever. And I feel like in the league, a lot of the three balls can be cut down to communication because they don't just dribble, step back three. Like this isn't 2015 anymore. It's a lot of switches, a lot of actions and stuff like that that I think comes down to being able to talk to your defense, saying, "Hey, I got him, go up island," kind of like being more vocal. And I wonder if, because it's kind of like enthusiasm's contagious. If there's someone that's really in a good mood, bringing it every single day, you're like, "Oh, damn, I want to do that." And I wonder if that's something that could be happening to the Clippers where they don't, their wind is kind of taken out of their sails because, like I said, the whole just them kind of falling off like this in February, March is not a good look. I mean, this is definitely not the time you want to be falling off going into playoffs where the other teams are heating up. I mean, the Denver came out and said, "Hey, we want the 1 seed. We want to play every single home game going up to we want home court advantage the whole time." And they did that. The Thunder, constantly up there. Even the Timberwolves with Rudy Gobert falling out of injury and then Karl-Anthony Towns, potentially showing up right at playoffs. Anthony Edwards have been able to keep that team afloat. Brandon Ingram went down, but the Zion's coming up. Luka and Kyrie's killing it. So it's like they don't have an opportunity. Don't have the luxury of taking any games off. I mean, this is where they need to do it. And I think if you start falling off too much, other teams are catching up, and they're going to have any wins by the time you get to the playoffs.
Exactly. I mean, just trying to process everything that you said, but essentially that's like you said, with how tight the Western Conference is, it's very easy to drop games. And so I just think that, like you said, with Russell Westbrook going down, it gave the Clippers a little bit of like you said, not wind in their sails anymore. I mean, Russell Westbrook might not be the best player on the court, but Russell Westbrook always has the team leader mentality.
Mm-hmm.
If he's the vocal one, he's the one if it's not Ty Lue, it's normally Russell Westbrook talking to the huddle and whatnot. So when you take that away, that's pretty big.
Yeah, for sure.
So the Western Conference coming down to the end, very excited to see where all teams shake up at, whether the Rockets or the Warriors make the play-in tournament, who ends up as the 1 seed, who's gonna be the 6th seed, and who's gonna end up being that coveted 7 seed to make the play-in tournament. Stuff like that, all very close. I'm very excited for the end of it.
Yep, this is the March madness of the league. Just everything's getting, you have your standouts, the Celtics and whatever. But other than that, I mean, it's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, the West could very well be a team that we see a 5 seed in the conference finals.
Hopefully, it's the Clippers. Anyway,
Hopefully.
We are going to transition from basketball to football. As we all know, football is in its off season. Coming up here today, of course, Thursday, March 28th. A lot of teams are starting to have their pro day. A lot of people are starting to speculate where people are going to end up in this thing called the NFL draft.
Draft.
So me and Shelby did a draft of our own last week. We enjoyed it so much.
It's coming back, baby.
Exactly. We're bringing you another one. This time, it's going to be cartoon characters.
Ooh. I think I got your ass in this.
You think you got me.
Yeah, I think I got you. I think I got you.
We've said this before. I was a pudgy kid. I liked my cartoons. I watched a lot of them. That's some bold statements.
Hey, so I just want to say to you and everyone else, I chose my cartoon based on the character. Yes. I'm going to spoil it. SpongeBob didn't make my list because to me, SpongeBob himself as just a character does not warrant as one of the best characters in cartoons. I think the show's great, but it's a collection of them. So I just want to make sure that when I say this, someone's not like, oh, it's the character themselves. When you break it down, each time we make a pick, we'll talk about a character or show a little bit. Just know that's my requirements.
Yes, this is just to kind of give a little rundown, because me and you know the stipulations, right?
Yep.
We know that this is based off of the character itself, not if we would want to hang out with the character, not how we think the character would be if we got up to them or met them or whatnot. This is solely based off the character that we see, and both of us are only allowed one character per show. So if I take a person from SpongeBob, I cannot take another person from SpongeBob, but Shelby can still take somebody from the SpongeBob show. Mm-hmm. So one of us or both of us can only have one person per show.
Okay. All right. Now, so here, let's do this. I am thinking of a number, 1 to 10.
Okay.
I'm thinking of my number now.
Okay.
Is it odd or even? If you get it right, then you go first. If you get it wrong, odd. It is odd. It was 7. So you get first pick.
That's
first
what
pick
I
of
was
the whole
banking
thing.
on. Number one pick. I'm taking it. Give me Skips.
Damn it!
Give me Skips. Yes.
Damn it, dude! I thought you were gonna go Mordecai for regular show.
No, give me Skips.
Piss.
Yeah. Yeah. Mordecai ain't got shit on Skips.
Dude, that's exactly. I'm like, that's why I asked. Like, is this like the character, or like if we want to hang out with him? I would love to hang out with Mordecai. But Skips is probably like the best,
the best character
there.
And he's always skips up to Mordecai and Rigby and goes, "Yeah, I've seen this before.
Oh, I've seen this before.
I know what we gotta do." Dude.
Dude, and my favorite episode is when he's trying to figure out the technology. He's like,
the technology episode, the arm wrestling episode, any episode where the bowling episode.
Mm-hmm.
Skips.
Regular show.
Round 1, pick 1. Regular show's off the board for me, but I'm taking Skips.
That's good. That's really good. Touche. So that makes me feel a whole lot better about my first pick. My first pick is Jake the motherfucking dog from Adventure Time. He has
Oh,
superpowers, he has knowledge, he has humor, he has a sick voice. He's always there for Finn. I mean, he's like the definition of best friend. Like to me, I compare ourselves to like Finn and Jake. Like Jake, whoever's which, whether I'm Jake or Finn, kind of changes depends on the situation. But I feel like that's the two I kind of compare ourselves to, and so I gotta take Jake with my first pick.
Jake is a very. I gotta
Mm.
give it to you.
And
That's a good pick. I had Jake on my list.
yeah,
I did. I
oh
had
hell
Jake on my
yeah, okay,
list. I
okay,
gotta. That one's gonna be. I gotta think of something now. I mean, granted, I
okay,
have multiple options. Don't get me wrong. I come here.
yep,
I come in here prepared. These
yep.
are
Me too. I'm loaded to the gills with characters.
round two. Skips.
Okay,
I got Skips.
pick
You got
three.
Jake the dog. Round two. Skips. Awesome character. He lacks one thing. He's not the funniest character of regular show, right?
Oof.
So
Okay.
now we gotta pivot. We gotta go to a little bit of comedy, a little comedic relief.
Okay. I think I'm good.
You said something about superpowers. We don't
Yep.
need. We just powers. We just need a boomerang. Give me Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Give me
who you pick
Sokka.
off of that?
Of course, that's who I pick off of that. What do
No
you
way.
mean?
Well, let's just jump into it. My fourth pick, or my second pick, Uncle Iroy from Avatar. Come on. Same thing with Jake. He's knowledge. He has one of the saddest songs, probably in any cartoon. I mean, his character development's amazing. He's always there. You really, that is crazy to me.
Sokka ended up getting with the moon.
That is true.
The moon.
That is true.
Sokka was able to sleep with the moon.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right, who's your next one?
Granted, I will say, Uncle Iroh, great pick. Great
Yeah.
pick. Uncle Iroh, that was
So I kind of fumbled the bag.
had to be the 1-2 from Avatar, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. I will say I should have waited on him because you couldn't pick anyone else from that show.
Yeah,
But I was too excited, so it's fine.
that's exactly. That's the other thing too, is that like since we know that we can't pick somebody from the show, a little
Yep.
strategic planning goes involved into this.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So recap on you. You have Skips and
I,
who do you select? You
I have
just did it.
Skips and Sokka from the
Sokka.
Avatar.
Okay, and I got Jake and Uncle Iroy. Okay.
Pick number 3. Round 3 selection. Give me Gumball.
You know, funny enough, none of them made the list on mine. That's the show
That's
I slept
fine.
on. That was kind of
That's
the show
perfect.
past my prime.
Yeah, that's fine. He shouldn't be on your list anyway, because I'm taking him.
Fair enough. Your
Give
pants,
me
put them in the
Gumball.
bag.
He literally went Super Saiyan. Just saying.
the social justice warrior.
Just
Uh,
throwing that out there.
that show is above for its time, dude. That show is really
That
slept on.
show,
I'm included
that
with
show
that.
was great.
Okay. So I have wisdom, right? I mean, I have Jake the wisdom. I have Aro the wisdom. So I think kind of like you, I'm gonna go with the humor. So I'm looking at two different ones on my list right here, and man, I don't know who to pick. I think I'm gonna go Bender from Futurama.
I did not even think about Futurama,
Dude,
and that is
I
on me.
Bender is I mean, one of the best I mean, by his metal shiny ass, you know. He's a
Bender
tool bag.
is,
He's an alcoholic, but he's everything that people
but he
love. He's
steals the
funny as
show. Yeah,
hell.
he
Yeah, he
steals the
steals the
show.
show. All right, all right.
For my round 4, because I have options now with round
Fourth
5.
round. Yeah,
Yeah, so I have
me
options
too.
now with my round 5. So I have to make sure. I don't think you even have this cartoon on your list. This is my character that I think you looked past.
Okay.
That because what kind of cartoon character is this? You know, it's a show. It's a cartoon show for kids about somebody who's struggling his own food place. But at the best times, you need a handyman. You need a schnitzel from Chowder.
Oh no, you're right. I did have chowder.
Yep. You
Oh
forgot about it.
no!
You rada 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 rada
Oh
rada rada rada. You want me to back him
damn!
up? I'll back him up. Rada 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 rada.
Oh dude, yeah, I slept on that one. I didn't even think about chowder,
Yeah.
dude. Ah, I didn't think about it. Okay, okay. So, man, my fourth pick. Kind of like what you're running into. I have 8 people on my list. And obviously I'm on my fourth one. So now we're getting to the lower portion.
Yep.
So I have wisdom with Jake, Uncle Iroy. I have humor and Bender. So I think I need a leader of the group. I think I need someone that can always get his team through. Someone that can really wrangle them up, but also
If you're going where I
secure one of
think you're
the
going,
secure one of the biggest
I'm gonna be
baddies.
in shambles.
Has one of the best movies out there as a kid. A movie that absolutely put me through the ringer. Give me Robin from the original Teen Titans.
Fuck! I was gonna be my last pick.
Let's go!
No! I was thinking that. No, I was gonna round out my 5 with Robin.
Dude, my point guard.
As soon as you said I need a leader, I went, no.
Dude, yeah.
No.
So, like I told you, my list is just kind of random. He is my second pick, but I was going off kind of like what we were saying. I was going off of. I'm like, okay, I think he's gonna pick this. Okay, so he's in the humor side. So that's why I'm like, I'm gonna go round out. I have humor. I have my my wisdom. Let's get my leader.
Okay. So I kind of looking at the team here.
Mm-hmm.
I have Skips.
Yep.
I have Sokka. I have Skips is wisdom. He's seen everything. He knows he he
Mm-hmm.
he can literally beat death. We have Sokka. We have our comedic relief. And if somebody who can kind of fight, use that boomerang if you need to. We have the Riz God. Literally
That is true.
slept with the moon.
I will say, Riz
Slept
God
with
for sure.
the moon. So we got the comedic relief. We have Gumball. Gumball's there to kind of pair with Sokka. Funny, but can also, get back. He can get his. He's quick with wits. He's quick with comebacks. He can turn Super Saiyan.
Okay.
We have Snitzel. Handyman. Serious. I'm trying to think of what we need. And I'm thinking we're lacking in my 5. Again, I don't even think you watched this show. This was a bit when I was starting to get out of cartoons.
Okay.
But I'm going to take somebody who I think is going to round out the group with how cool he is. You know, this dude walks into a room, you know he's there. He doesn't have to announce it. All the ladies are announcing that he's in that room.
Oh, okay.
Give me Pizza Steve from Uncle Grandpa.
Oh, that is not where I thought you were going with that. Okay. Is
We got it
Pizza
all.
Steve cool?
We got it all. Pizza Steve cool.
Okay,
This
okay.
group's got it all. We got wisdom. We got comedy. We got quick wits. We have handiwork. We can turn Super Saiyan. And now, we're so cool. It's unbelievable. Mic drop.
Okay, dude, that's a good one. That's a good one. And to round out mine, again, Jake the dog, Robin, Bender, Uncle Aroy, and I'm here looking at my list, and there's three. There's three that I'm really looking at. They're about the same. Yeah, about the same gears, right? They're both the comedy of their show. And I'm here wondering which one to go with. And I think purely out of iconicness, someone that you see just their face, you know exactly who it is. Someone that's been around since 1987.
Wow.
Somebody that is a family man. Oh, that changed. After saying that, it makes me wonder. I think I'm still going to go with him. Give me Homer Simpson from The Simpsons. I think in terms of iconicness, you can't get more iconic other than like Bugs Bunny or anything like that than Homer. Homer's always the one that's causing problems. He's just a funny guy, not to mention the Simpson movie itself. I think that's a good last pick.
It's a decent pick. I think Homer and Robin, those two combined, I don't know how they're going to work out together.
Well, so my other guy was,
Individually, good picks, yes.
yeah, but I mean, you have a guy who doesn't speak a lick of English and Snitzel, and you don't have anyone else from Chowder, so it's not like they know what they're saying. So you have a big language barrier right there.
Whoa, 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 whoa. First and foremost, are you forgetting who round one, pick one was? He's seen everything. He knows how to deal with Snitzel. Skips is the knower of all.
Damn it!
Yeah. You think I didn't think of this? I thought of this. I meticulated over this. This team is crafted. There are some picks that you took. Robin was a good pick. Uncle Iroh, that was a good pick.
Yeah.
But this team was thought of. This team was crafted.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so go over. You have Skips. I'm writing it down on a piece of paper as we speak. You have Skips.
Okay. I
You
had Skips.
have
Round two was Sokka from Avatar. Three was Gumball. Round four was Snitzel. And round five was Pizza Steve. I think me and you went in two different directions from this. I stuck more to the childhood cartoons. I didn't think about Family Guy. I didn't think about Futurama.
that's
That
yeah.
might come up to hurt me. and I understand why.
So personally, I think the weakest pick you had was Pizza Steve. He is cool, yes, but in the grand scheme of everything, I think there was better ones to get in terms of coolness. Here, let's do this. In terms, you want to pick a sixth man come off the bench?
I think we need to just stick to 5. As many cartoons as there are, and there are people who are absolutely beautiful cartoon characters that had to be left off. But we have to stick to 5. Those are the draft rules. Every podcast sticks to 5. I mean, I missed out on people. What's funny? Number 1 on my list was Patrick Starr. Didn't even make my team.
See, to me, like he's funny because of everything else in that show, not because of him, and that's something I really had to look at. That's why I didn't go with Peter Griffin.
I had a bunch of people on here. Lemonhead from Adventure Time.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh,
he
that's
didn't make
a good
the list.
God about Lemonhead.
Zeus from Gravity Falls.
Ooh, Gravity Fall love in there. I like it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's good shows. SpongeBob made none of our lists.
Mm-mm.
You know, the only character from Teen Titans was Robin. You could pick any of the 5.
That's true. Who would you say is your second favorite? Because I was thinking about Beast Boy, but I think in terms of the original one, honestly, I really love
the
Raven.
Original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have.
Raven's dope. Yeah, Raven's really dope. Raven or I don't know, Starfire's dope too. You remember the episode when they went to her like home planet?
I do not.
No, dude. Next here, so for the show, normally Nick and I said normally, we did it like twice. So when Nick would get out of high school, his first day of summer, we would watch an anime. And the first time it was Yu-Gi-Oh! I think we should get together and watch Teen Titans. The original.
If you can find the original one, I am 1,000% down because the original Teen Titans absolutely blow Teen Titans Go out of the water.
Oh, dude, that's so good. It's so serious and also so awesome. That's what I love about it.
Exactly. But it has Cyborg and Beast Boy. That was the problem right there. If the problem with taking Cyborg and Beast Boy is that you could only take one of them. And they got the max potential when it was both of them.
Exactly.
That's where I had trouble picking one of them. And that's why I wanted to go Robin. But when you took him, the only other option was Raven, but I felt like Pizza Steve rounded out the team better.
Right. I also really do love the Uncle Grandpa love.
It's a bit past my prime. The show was goofy. The show was. I felt like I was on acid watching all 15 minutes of that show.
The super realistic flying tiger.
Yeah. Is that the name? Like, what the hell is that realistic show? Flying tiger.
What the hell was that show?
Pizza Steve slept in a race car bed. That's another reason I picked him.
I forgot about that lore.
Yeah. So it is. So, quick rundown. It is Skips, Sokka, Gumball, Schnitzel, and Pizza Steve going up against. This is where you say your team.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so I got Jake, then I had Uncle Aroy, and then I had Bender, Robin, then Homer.
Let us know in the comments who you think won. Let us know in the comments who you think we left off, who you think we didn't mention, who you think would be a better asset to to our teams.
Yeah, go ahead and make your own top 5 without using our characters, and the same rules apply to you. Because it's a lot harder than what you think. It is a lot harder. Not in the fact that there's a shortage, but because there's a surplus of such great characters. Like Nick was saying, there's no SpongeBob, there's no Bugs Bunny, there's no Donald Duck, there's no Marvin the Martian. Any of the Looney Tunes is left off and all that. So
Tom and Jerry was left off.
Tom and Jerry.
Those classics.
Mm-hmm.
Had
Exactly.
no Flintstones, had none of the classics on there, a lot of them. Just let us know what you think. That was this week's draft. Hopefully we are going to continue this tradition. I have a lot of fun with this
I
tradition.
love it. I think this is my
Shelby
favorite one.
Shelby loves this tradition. I mean, you could hear the passion in our voices when we do this.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so this is gonna be a tradition kind of going up to the NFL draft, maybe after. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you guys have a lot of fun listening to our drafts. And so, but with that is segued into the NFL. Now the
Okay.
NFL has, free agency still going on. There's still signings going on left and right and whatnot. I think the biggest signing has been Jadeveon Clowney this past week. He got signed to the Carolina Panthers. But there are two things that I really want to talk to you about
Okay.
before we end this episode.
All
And
right.
those two things are both NFL rule changes. This past
Yep.
week, all NFL owners had a meeting where they changed the NFL kickoff to look a lot more like the XFL kickoff, in the sense where the returner and the kicker are going to be away from all of the players, and then 10 players from the kicking team and 10 players from the returning team all line up at about the 40-yard line, 35-yard line, kind of like 10 yards apart and whatnot. And when the receiver catches the ball, the other players can move. And the other thing that was changed was they banned the hip drop tackle. And I will let you decide on which one we talk about first.
Um, I think I want to talk about the kickoff first. I feel like the hip drop has more talking points about it. So let's just go ahead and get this
Okay.
way.
Okay.
My opinion on the kickoff is I think it's honestly, I think I like it better than what they were doing with just an amount of straight uh, touchbacks. I mean, from
Okay.
anywhere, like it was. I wish I had the number in front of me, but I'd say probably a safe 85% of kickoffs were just touchbacks anyway. And so I hope with this it increases that. I'm interested to see how the touchback situation still works. If, in my opinion, if that's the case of making it as safe as, in my opinion, as safe as possible with this move, I would like to see the kicker push back a bit more. That way, it's almost a guaranteed return. But the days of seeing the Devin Hesters, the I want to say his name was Jonathan Cribbs. No, Demir Cribbs. I don't know.
Josh
Cribbs, who
Cribbs.
Josh Cribbs, who was always taken to the crib. Darren Sproles, Tyler Lockett when he's on the Seahawks. The days of electric
Don't forget about
kickoff
Cordell
returns
Patterson.
and Cordell Patterson. The days of electric returns are not only gone within the last few years, but I believe it's squashed with this move. Um, I mean, I just don't see it being too much of a good thing. But if there are rules to be changed, I'd rather them change this one. I don't like how there's no surprise onsides. I saw a thing where they have to go up to the ref and let them know that they're
Yep.
doing it. So to me, that takes a lot of the late game situations out of it. I mean, there is no, I forgot what year. I want to say like 2014. Yeah, I think it's 2014 when the Patriots won. When the Seahawks got the onside against the Packers, you don't see that anymore because there is no surprise. And even then, they're going to have a whole lineup of receivers on that one side because then they have to get known. It's not like I think they're going to do this, So I think the game as we see it is changing as it is. Obviously, with like I said, the 25 effort catch within the 25 is ridiculous. So with this, you might as well get it to the XFL level.
Yeah, I like you said, I also like the change of the kickoff as well, because I mean we've seen multiple rules where like you said, the touchback is now out to the 25-yard line instead of the 20-yard line. Now, if you fair catch the ball within the 25-yard line, it goes up to the 25-yard line. It just seems like the NFL was trying to get rid of the kickoff altogether. And so I like the fact that there is still a kickoff, but they're just trying to change it because this kickoff, it's safer for the players because, there's less momentum. Players are only lined up 10 yards apart from each other. And so there's less momentum to get hit and whatnot and have those like hard hits coming on. But it also gives like the returners a little bit of incentive. If you can push back that NFL kicker a little bit to where maybe the ball might bounce at like the 5-yard line or so, and you see that clear lane already instead of hoping that a clear lane might
open
up. It gives it to where kickoffs might actually make a return. I mean, even if all the players have to line up 10 yards apart from each other, in the XFL, they still had, kickoff trick plays where somebody who was supposed to be lined up at the sideline blocking would come and do an end around and receive the ball from the returner and whatnot. And so, there's more opportunities for the ball to be returned. And I was a big fan of kickoffs. Seeing one returned was one of the craziest things. I still think seeing punt returns are pretty crazy. But so the kickoffs, especially start of game and middle of game, where all that anticipation is coming up, especially when you're seeing like in the Super Bowl where like all this anticipation is coming up just for the ball to fly out the back of the end zone. It's like, well, what's the point of that if that's just going to happen over and over and over and over again?
Exactly.
Kickers were getting to the point to where, like, unless you had a 96% touchback percentage, you were in the bottom half. Or bottom 10, more than likely. And so I like the fact that this has a chance to revive the kickoff, essentially.
Yeah, I'm really hoping. The only thing is, back to your whole XFL thing, I don't see NFL, the best of the best coaches making the same silly mistakes as an XFL team would. So I definitely see it more as a model. And I'm also interested to see, in a situation like that, do you put a Myles Garrett out there? Because, if there's anything that's going to be breaking down 10 yards, I want Garrett, Are you going to be seeing a lot of Micah Parsons and like a lot of these superstars to make a big impact play? Or are you going to see a lot of these?
The kicker and the returner are still like, I think, 20, 30 yards off the ball.
Well, true, but you still need to break through that defense. So do you want a Garrett in the middle of the field to do that, to break it? Because how you get lanes is if you don't have consistent pressure from all sides, right?
I also think that coaches don't want their superstars out there on special teams. It's just another chance for them to get hurt, and I don't think that's what coaches would want.
That is true. I don't know. It's kind of like, do you put your speedy guys out there? Because if you have your speedy guys and let's say your linebackers blocking, or your H-backs or your tight ends or whoever blocking them, there's a good chance it's taken to the house.
Yeah, but as I understand your point is that it is more of a mind game now. Yeah. Who's going to be trying to tackle who? Who's going to be trying to block who? Who's going to be trying to be, getting past blockers? Who might just set an edge or who might, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it is another mind game added as well. Or at least it can be. I don't know if that's the way that they want to keep it or if they just want to keep it like standard. This is what we're going to do. Every team is going to do that. Might be the way that we end up seeing this, but they can add the element of, well, what if I put fast guys in there? Or really good people who are really good at shedding blocks? Well, what if I put all defensive ends back there? Mm-hmm. So I see where you're coming from. But like we both said, I am a personal fan of changing the kickoffs. I'm hoping that it revives it. I'm hoping that this revives kind of the kickoff.
Yeah, and that's I'm sure I'm speaking for Nick when we say this. I would like it to be normal. I would love it to be where you see a kickoff almost, at least attempted every single time.
Yeah,
Back
it
in,
doesn't have to
the
be.
the early 2010s and stuff like that, where it was like you just never know. It's a gamble. But with how it is now, where 95% of the kicks are going, I'd rather see a change where that gets brought back rather than it just stay the same.
Yeah. And I mean, it was good because you can't necessarily just say bring the kicker back because then that defeats the whole purpose of like the whole momentum thing that
Mm-hmm.
you took away from the runners and whatnot. And so overall, I think this is the best kind of middle ground area to keep the kickoff. And like you said, I don't need to see a kickoff returned every game. I don't want to see a kickoff returned every game. I want to see a kickoff like attempted.
Mm-hmm.
Please,
Exactly.
somebody catch the ball and try to bring the ball out
Yeah,
of
and
the
don't
end
just
zone.
watch it sail into the fifth row of the
Don't
stadium.
fair catch the ball at the 15-yard line. You're a pro
Yeah.
athlete. You can
Yep.
gain more than 10 yards hopefully if this is what you're supposed to be doing for a living.
Exactly. And I
Let me see the
also,
try.
yeah, I would also like to see the onside get a little adjusted. Whether that be, I don't know, maybe you have to get a play for 20 yards, 20, 25 yards, or, just something like that, because I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking the onside, and I very well could be. But to me, if you're going to be changing the actual kick, let's also try change the onside.
Yeah, because the onside's been kind of very rarely, very rarely, very rarely, very
Well, you
rarely do
can't
you
run
see an
up.
onside kick.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you can't run up, travel 10 yards. Travel 10 yards. It can't like. There's so many rules. You can only have so many players to one side of the field, so you can't overload. You can't do this. You can't do that.
yeah.
I have seen the idea of like a 4th and 15 from your own 20-yard line.
hmm Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that idea is if you are like, let's say the Cleveland Browns, where you're a run offense, but you hang your hat on the defense. That onside is so unfair to you compared to the Chiefs or the Dolphins are consistently getting those big plays.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't
why
know.
I didn't say it was the best idea. I just said it was
No, no,
a idea.
I get you. And honestly, they could just bring back running into the whole deal. Like running, like having a running start into it. But let's say, I don't know, I don't know, I can't even think of it. Let's say you're on their 20. If you kick into their end zone, then that's their ball. So it's a lot more like precise kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I very well could be overthinking it. Maybe it's not that big of a. But I'd say let's get into the hip drop tackle and then let's wrap this thing up.
Sounds good. The NFL once again had the owners meeting. They talked about the hip drop tackle, which for those of you who don't know or don't understand what the hip drop tackle is, it is when a defender, will kind of chase the offense player from behind. The defender will grab the player around the waist from behind and just fall down. And so essentially it's caused a lot of owners and people are saying that it's causing a lot of leg injuries due to the forward momentum and suddenly dropping. But for defenses, all they're trying to do is stop the forward momentum and try to get the player on the ground as fast as possible. And they're trying to do that by just wrapping their arms around their waist and essentially, I mean, hip drop comes from the defenders are dropping their hips and putting all of their weight towards the ground to try to get the offensive player on the ground. Now, with that being said, I don't like this rule.
Me
I
neither.
don't at all. This rule is, I mean, you see it. A lot of players don't like this rule. A lot of ex players don't like this rule. A lot of offensive players don't like this rule. All defensive players don't like this rule. The main point of this rule was player safety. And yes, try to keep player safety big. But the big part about player safety is the head. I don't want concussions, CTEs,
I
stuff
don't
like
want
that, where it's
Antonio
gonna
Brown.
yeah, where it's gonna mess them up long term. But at the end of the day, this is football. No other sport are, except for rugby, are you trying to hit someone as hard as you can.
Hmm.
And
Even
so,
rugby is like, because they don't have pads or anything, they don't feel like they're invincible like you do when you have 15 pounds of padding on you. So I feel like even rugby kind of takes your own body into consideration. So I would say football probably has the heaviest color. I'm not
and
saying
so,
rugby doesn't have some rough ones, but
yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But it's that. Like, at the end of the day, this is American football. This sport is supposed to be vicious, violent, tough. And these players are signing $1 million contracts to do that.
hmm.
I mean, the players understand what they're getting themselves into. It's not like they've spent their entire lives playing this game. And so I get player safety with a lot of the kickoff rules and quarterbacks and stuff like that, because it's how
Yeah, like no targeting
messing
and stuff like that.
messing people up long term, or messing with the revenue that the NFL gets and stuff like that. But the penalty for a hip drop tackle was a 15 yards and an automatic first down from where it happened, which is completely ridiculous. I mean, if a defender gets past, or if an offensive player gets past a defender, the defender at that point might as well give up, because there's
Yeah,
no possible way for them to safely get the offensive player on the ground.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean, then
especially
you're
if
starting to,
you're
like,
a
because if you try to I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I have a lot of
no, no.
thoughts
Go
about
ahead.
this.
Yeah, go ahead.
But from behind, if you can't wrap them up and try to bring them down quickly, now you're looking at horse collar tackles. Now you're looking at just trying to grab their jersey and hold on for dear life. Now, like, you're taking away the most effective way of bringing down a defender from behind, or bringing down an offensive player from behind. Now you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, because usually when there's hip drops, you're obviously beating them out of the hole, right? So you're let's say at least 5 yards, at least. But good luck. Like DBs, safeties, they're all gonna have to be linebackers because you have to have so much forward momentum to bring them down that way. And like let's say a Derrick Henry or a dude for the Browns. Why am I blanking?
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Like, how are you going to be bringing them down? I mean, they're powerhouses where you have to hit them low and all that to be able to. So back to your whole comment about it's either horse collar or that, because like if you trip them up, like is that going to be what's next? I guess called, because you can get triple up easy. I think if they're so focused on, because what happened was, I'm sure it's the Mark Andrews injury. Mark Andrews and I think Laporta got hurt kind of the same way, where it's the tackling from the back, bring them down that way. Instead of doing it because if you look at them, they all have the same thing. They don't wear high top shoes. So how about you make it regular, or a regulation for them to wear high top shoes rather than completely cut the defense out of the loop? Because defense in the NFL has the most bullshit, no, not bullshit, but just the most rules against them. I mean, they can't
Yeah, it's
constantly, you
already
see
tough for a
receivers.
defender.
Yeah, constantly you see receivers, just manhandling corners with the ball in the air, but because the corner didn't have his head turned, doesn't get called. Or pushing or stuff like that. There's holding, or there's defensive holding. There's stuff like that. And, like, there's so much flags that the defense gets. They pretty much have to put the quarterback to sleep with a pillow and a quilt. Now you're making it where everyone gets the same treatment as a quarterback. That is ridiculous. That is so dumb. Like you said, they are signed up. They know what they signed up for. They've been getting hip dropped since middle school, high school. They understand it. And yes, it sucks that Mark Andrews got hurt. I'm not saying that, he's a pawn. Like, he's a big part of it. But think about all the other hip drops. All the other hip drops in the league. It happens constantly. Every single game there's hip drop. And not every single game is there an injury. So it's about time that instead of NFL really limiting the defense, because it's the same thing with basketball. And they got rid of hand check and the stuff like that. But the defender can't stay in the paint and all that. it results in these offensive booms that it gets boring after a while. Like no one cares that the NBA team scored 130. Really, like back in the early 2000s, 130. Damn, they got it going on. Where now we're going to see a lot of the LA Rams and the Chiefs, where the Chiefs scored like 46 points and lost. We're going to see a lot of that because, like Nick's saying, it's just a bunch of breakaways that's going to happen. I'm really interested to see if the number of big plays goes up because of this rule change.
It has to. I mean, I'm thinking that there's no way it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
The defense has so little ways. I mean, it's as you said, for quarterbacks, they pretty much have to swing them in their arms and sing them a lullaby to get counted for a sack.
Mm-hmm.
And not have a flag thrown. And now that you can't do a hip drop tackle, and once again, Mark Andrews got injured. Yes, it sucks. But it's a part of football, and it's short term. He's gonna come back. He will more than likely be the same person. He'll more than likely have the same numbers on the field. Injuries are a part of football. That's what makes football football.
Mm-hmm.
And now, a lot of these teams that are defensive oriented, you're taking that away from them.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the Browns, who have a run game and a defense, well, now you're taking the defense away.
And I always think about the time when Greenlaw tore his Achilles on just running onto the field, right? And Nick's mom is a physical therapist. And so, she was saying, oh, if it happened because of that, it was going to happen later in the game. And honestly, it's better than it happened on the sideline. Where I think with the Mark Andrews thing, because didn't he tear his Achilles? Wasn't it an Achilles injury?
I believe so.
That could have happened from someone stepping on his foot. That could have happened from him exploding. It's like, when something's holding on by a thread or, just about to break, it's just a matter of time. It wasn't because of the hip drop. The hip drop was a thing that happened, yes. But I'm sure if you talk to any other doctor or physical therapist, such as your mom, they would see that happens. It would have happened later on.
Yeah, it's a short-term injury. You can come back from an Achilles tear. You can come back. You can still be the same person off the field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just Mark Andrews is a very good tight end, and he's getting paid tens of millions of dollars. And he has one injury, and now the league is taking more away from the defense. And J.J. Watt and Ryan Clark and all these big names, these ex-players, are saying what everybody is thinking on social media is the same thing. Is they just need to hurry up and give everybody do that already. Just hurry up and 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 do that already. Because that's the only way the defense is going to be able to do anything.
Yep.
And they're going to lose so much revenue from it because, I mean, that's not what people able to. I'm not saying that like people are tuning into the game solely for defense, but I mean that's half of the game, half of the team that they support.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see that part of the game, and they want to be able to, cheer for something on defense, whether it be a big hit or whatnot, or just getting the person on the ground. And now they're making it to where just have 7-on-7, because once you get flags, there's no point of having linemen. There's no point of having defensive linemen. Just make the game 7-on-7.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe it's just my group of people and friends and whatnot, but we don't want to see the 40-point games. Like my favorite number of score in the NFL is like 21 to like mid 30s. That's about it. Like mid 30s is like okay, like come on. Like love seeing a defense that's really trying their balls off and stuff like that. It's just the offensive coach got it going on or a big play or anything like that.
Well, I like you said 20 to 30. I don't even like, I mean, if I watch that game, it's not like I'm going to sit there and say this is a bad game or anything, but I
Mm,
prefer like a 21 to 17, where like
yeah.
the offense only really has two drives, and that's going to be what seals the game. Like that third drive where they finally get it going late into the third quarter or late into the fourth quarter. Like that's because the game is competitive. The game is what's going to happen is the offense finally going to be able to get it going. Is the defense, going to let up a couple yards happen?
hmm Yeah. I don't like the way. And what's really weird is it seems like, and maybe this is just biasness and, recency bias and whatnot, but it just seems like the league is changing so much in the last 5 to 8 years.
Yeah,
I mean, it just seems like there's so much changes, and it's like, why? Like, this is the best athletes we are seeing is the ones right now. Right now.
everything is going towards the Pro Bowl, and there's a
Yeah,
reason people stopped watching the Pro Bowl.
exactly. The one of the biggest highlights of the Pro Bowl, I don't know if it was last year but 2 years ago, um, was Jalen Ramsey laying Tyreek Hill out, just completely leveling him. That was the biggest highlight from that Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
And I get, you
that
don't want
shouldn't
to,
have happened.
yeah, and I get it. You don't want to have your people get hurt because if a Tyreek Hill gets hurt or Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, those are huge names. It's going to hurt you. But at the end of the day, if they're not fans that's willing to stick it out for all the other teams, are they even fans you really need to worry about? Are those the ones buying merch? Are those the ones that's tuning in every given Sunday? Are they the ones that just watch highlights? Like instead of playing to the the hype beasts, if you will, like play to the people who actually love the game. Play it to the Nick Butlers that has their heart and soul into the games, that wants to do this for a career because of the love of the game, and not because he loves touchdowns, not because he loves TikTok dances and the whole team celebrating and this and that. No, to hell with that. If you want to see that, you can go watch at the Pro Bowl. Let's watch some hard, grueling hits. Let's watch some good football. I want to see the Andrew Reeds against the Mike McDaniels. Andrew Reed let his guard, or not his guard down, but just gets outcoached by McDaniels for that drive and then score a touchdown. And Andrew Reed has to kick it up a notch and get it back in the game. I want to see more of that. I want to see the more cogs of the machine that goes into football, the game that we love, rather than scoring. Because I'm sorry, if I had a choice between a 80-yard slant that gets taken for a touchdown or 7-minute, play after play after play after play of just really good football, and like I said, the coaches going against each other, the players going one on one. I'd much rather watch that than an 80-yard slant.
And I mean, even like it can go even like watching football,
Is there anything
even
else you
playing.
want to add here, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Yes, I am. I'm kind of with you in that sense of like the well out methodical drives. I mean, even playing Madden, and you feel like you're well out methodical drive, 10 plays, yards, 85 yards. It's like, oh, that felt nice. 12
Mm-hmm.
plays, 80 yards. Having those long thought out drives. I prefer it more as well. Hopefully you guys agree with us as well. But getting to about that hour, 45-minute mark here in episode number 9. So I believe with that being out of the way, we both got our thoughts for, the hip job tackle. We both think it's an absolutely terrible idea and whatnot. But once again, just like to throw out the date. Today is Thursday, March 28th. And this has been episode 9 of the Next Average Podcast. The Shelby Nick Average Podcast, to be specific, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. Cool and crispy to start, nice and crispy to end.
Crispy to end, baby. Consistency. Call me Shay.
Consistency. We thank all of you guys for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure like the video. It means a lot to us. Subscribe even. We try to post these weekly. I try to do about an hour and a half, hour 45 weekly, get these up. And yeah, thank you guys all for listening. We will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.